Democratic presidential candidate Bernie Sanders returned to the campaign trail Saturday, telling more than 25,000 supporters he's back. It was the Vermont senator's first rally since he suffered a heart attack earlier this month. Sanders was also joined in New York City by Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who endorsed him for president.
I am more than ready to assume the office of President of the United States. To put it bluntly, I am back.
He made that clear. For more on this, I want to bring in Carmen Yulin Cruz. She's the co-chair of Bernie Sanders' campaign, and she's also the mayor of San Juan, Puerto Rico. Thank you so much for being
Thanks for having
with us. As we just saw,
he's back.
He's back for
sure.
He
was never gone, but you know, it was an electrifying time.
Had to set pause for a little bit and take care of the health issue, which has been much discussed. But even more discussed this week is the fact that the Congresswoman endorsed him. How were you able to clinch this support from her?
Well, you know, it's about a progressive agenda. Alexandria, another Boricua from Puerto Rico also, it's a person that understands that it's about universal values. It's about Medicare for all, college for all, canceling student debt. It's common and shared values that go across age groups and, frankly, go across ethnic groups. It's the diversity and the taking on those that have the most, not because we don't want people to have, it's because we want more people to have more of what they need.
So are you looking to get something out of this endorsement in that way where it does cross so many different barriers with the Congresswoman?
Well, I think it's important that this endorsement proves for skeptics that Bernie Sanders is a precedent for all, that his agenda is an agenda that stems from the people, and that is an agenda of universal values and universal human rights. That is important. And look, Alexandria is the youngest person ever to be voted into the Congress. So the way you contact and connect with millennials, although Bernie has never had any issues with the younger population, is different. It's a more diverse environment. And it gives us another voice, because it isn't about Bernie, as he tells us often. It's about everybody. It's about the multitude of voices and the diversity of voices that are going into this electrifying campaign. It was absolutely magical to be there today.
Yeah. So what I want to focus on a little bit now, though, is where we started, and that's hitting the pause button after he had the heart attack. Before he even had the heart attack, people were talking about his age. There are a number of skeptics that say he's too old and now his health is too bad. What do you have to say to them?
Well, those are the ones that would like to see him out of the race. Bernie Sanders has been fighting the good fight and has been fighting for people all throughout his life. And look, we all have health issues. 3 weeks ago, I was in the hospital for a couple of days because I got severely dehydrated. Bernie works very hard. But one thing that is, for me, the most important thing about Bernie is he's honest. When he looks at you in the eye and says, I'm ready, I'm back, and I'm ready to be the next president of the United States, he's talking to us health-wise. He's telling us, look, I am okay. I had a situation that I dealt with. I had a procedure that thousands of people have every day. And then he turns it around and says, but I was fortunate enough that I had health care. I was fortunate enough that I don't have to go bankrupt to take care of myself. And it frankly puts him in a position of understanding even more the values that he's fighting for.
You know, I was in Las Vegas covering when Sanders had the heart attack. And I will say there was a lot of different rumors and talk. Why did it take several days for the campaign to come out and actually definitively say, you know what, he did have a heart attack?
He has said himself that he wanted to have his family go through the process of understanding everything that had gone through. But from the beginning, it was very important for him to tell the truth. And that's exactly what he did. On Friday, you know, he went Wednesday and Friday, it was the doctors that said, look, he had a heart attack, he is fine, he's on his way to a full recovery. If a politician would have said that, a lot of skepticism would have been around that. But what's important is that he is back. And again, like you said, it was a pause. But the energy that was felt there today, the passion, the commitment, and the consistency of Bernie Sanders, it's just made it so much better for people. When he was unable to hit the campaign trail, thousands of volunteers hit the campaign trail. In 10 days, more than 1 million calls were made. He's got more small donations, primarily from teachers, than any other candidate. So he's going to be a good president because he's going to be a president of the people.
Well, and when this happened, there was a lot of talk that he may miss the presidential debate. He didn't. He showed up. What did you think of his performance at the debate?
It was his best performance ever. He showed up. He was on point. He was solid. And frankly, there were a lot more smiles coming out of Bernie Sanders. Bernie is this morning he said to me, I'm telling you to take care of yourself. Because again, he knows I was in the hospital. Well, it's an important
lesson, right?
It is an important lesson. And 2-3 days after he was in the hospital, he had a call with each and every one of us, the co-chairs. There's Ro Khanna, Ben Cohen, Nina Turner, and myself. And the first words out of his mouth were, I need you all to take care of yourselves. And it was an important lesson. Where he couldn't make it at the time, the 4 co-chairs were out all over the United States, and thousands of volunteers were canvassing all over the place. This is truly a movement. Yes, Bernie is the leader of the movement, but he stresses this all the time. It's not about him, it's about us. It's about an agenda that will make things right, not for the 1%, but for the other 99%.
Do you think days like today will become more frequent as he continues to heal after this heart attack, where there's 25,000 people and he starts doing these massive rallies again?
Well, he is going to continue to do the massive rallies, but he also likes the smaller ones where he really gets to connect with people on a one-on-one basis, where he gets somebody to talk about why they have gone bankrupt because of a medical bill, or the kid cannot go to college because they're an immigrant that does not have the papers that are required, or when he is able to touch somebody and hold them and hug them and tell them it's going to be all right because I'm right there by you. So it's a combination of forms. It's a combination of groups. For Bernie, special interest groups are redefined. It is the immigrant population, the women population, the transgender population, the LGBTQ movement, the Latino population. It's important to him to have both the huge rallies where he can get his message across, but also the heart-to-heart talks that are so important to have, because it continues to connect him and let people truly see what he's all about.
It's just the pace of these things can be so aggressive. And when you have some type of health situation happen, you wonder if people are going to dial it back. Or is he the type of person who gets energy off of talking to people?
Let me tell you, I campaigned with Bernie. I'm 56 years old. I don't have a heart condition. And it was really difficult to keep up with him, really difficult. He is energized all the time. He's on point all the time. He's got a sense of urgency about making sure that people understand that the next election is about fundamental values. So if that was him campaigning with, one of his arteries clogged, I cannot imagine how it's going to be campaigning with him. We all better catch our breath.
Well, I hope you're feeling better. Like you said, I hope everybody's taking care of themselves. Senator Elizabeth Warren has been rising in the polls. What is the campaign doing to try to keep up with her or get further ahead of her? What's the strategy?
Well, with all due respect, and we all care for Senator Elizabeth Warren, but Bernie Sanders' campaign is about the people. So you don't adjust your campaign. Why? Because it's about those values. Today, the place where he's selected in Queens, it's the largest housing project in the United States. And Bernie is talking not about incremental changes, not about middle-of-the-road changes, but fundamental changes that will help people have a better life, just like a U.S. Rent control, which is very important. Why? Because it is usually those that have less, the people that have to have 2 or 3 jobs, that are the ones that get gentrified and out of the way. Women that live alone with their children, people of color, those are the ones that get the most impacted. So what the campaign is doing is what Bernie has always done. First, we talk about Amazon and we talk about Disney. So Bernie has results. He doesn't have to promise things. He's already delivered on them. Number 2, the historical vote on the war in Syria. And also this magnetism of this galvanizing of a diversity culturally and also age-wise. It's very important for the campaign. So we will continue to take the message wherever and whenever. We will continue to be truthful. We will continue to be honest, but we will continue to tell the truth. This campaign is about fundamental changes. It is about people having an opportunity to a better life. It is about not putting children in cages. It is about telling the Latino population that their lives are worth, and the Afro-American population that their lives are worth. So it is about uniting people, and when the message gets through and it is across all types of elements, Bernie right now is ahead of the polls in terms of the youth vote, in terms of the first-time voters, in terms of the African-American voters, in terms of the Latino voters. Look, I'm an example. When I first ran for mayor, the polls had me losing by 21%, and I won by 4%. Polls don't capture something that we could see today. The electrifying movement, grassroots movement of a person that is able to lead because his values are the people's values. So we're not going to change anything. We're just going to make sure that we're out there at every turn, making sure people understand that this is not about Bernie. He is the leader of a grassroots movement that is unprecedented all over the United States.
That's been the message. It's going to stay the message.
It's been the message. It's been his life history. He's done it. He has been doing it, and he will do it when he becomes president of the United States. When he walks through that door at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, the working people are going to be walking in with him.
We've got a ways to go.
We got a ways to go, but you know, every day he's going to push hard. Every day he's going to push us hard, and every day he's going to let people know there's a decision to be made. If you want things to be more of the same, you look at other candidates. If you want things to change for the better, if you want things to fundamentally change, if you want to have a better life, not years from now, climate change. Bernie has been talking about climate change ever before climate change was an issue, which of course it's important for us. For me in Puerto Rico, I said this morning, I'm not a climate change expert. I'm a climate change survivor.
Yeah, Hurricane Maria.
We know people die if governments are not ready to do what they're supposed to do.
Good point. Mayor Carmen, Yulin, Cruz, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you very much.
Really appreciate your time.
Thank you.